With mainland TV dramas such as Blossoms Shanghai and My Altay gaining popularity in the island of Taiwan, more and more young people from the island are traveling to the mainland to see it for themselves. In recent years, the Democratic Progressive Party authorities have continuously found excuses to obstruct cross-Straits exchanges. They even announced at the end of June that they would raise the travel alert to the mainland, Hong Kong and Macau, to orange. How are the DPP authorities using misinformation to mislead young people in Taiwan? Why are the authorities so wary of cross-Straits exchanges? I was pleased to be joined by Han-ting, Taipei City Councilor at the 7th Cross-Strait Youth Development Forum. I started by asking him, under the current tensions across the Straits, why did he find it important to participate in the forum?
主持人好，所有的观众朋友们，大家好。主要呢是在当前的两岸。
The current cross-Straits atmosphere is very tense. The main reason is the DPP's wrong policies and direction. The DPP intentionally isolates and blocks exchanges between the two sides to manipulate the votes.
之间的交流和往来，这是对他自己的。
DPP's actions harms the long-term interests of the people in Taiwan. The DPP uses a lot of misinformation to mislead the youth in Taiwan. So the main point of bringing young people from Taiwan to the mainland is to help them get to understand the mainland and then to break down some of the DPP's lies.
然后来破除民进党的一些谎言。
Can you give an example of such misinformation or disinformation?
好，比如台湾的媒体时常。
For example, Taiwan's media often reports that the mainland high-speed trains have no backrests, the Three Gorges Dam is about to collapse, or cities like Beijing, Shanghai and Shenzhen are ghost towns with no residents. They also claim people are so poor that they eat field mice and live in mud houses. These are just a few examples of many false statements. As a result, young people in Taiwan might have mistakenly thought the mainland is poor and people in the mainland are struggling. That's why they need to visit and see the advanced progress and development in the cities firsthand.
You talked about encouraging these young people to walk out of their echo chamber and jump out of the well, in your original words. And you say that in Taiwan there is a lot of intentional disinformation and unintentional misinformation. How big is the percentage of such information?
这两者其实都有。那但是呢，在
There are both intentional and unintentional lies. But under the rule of the DPP, they deliberately spread rumours. They know that what they say is impossible or false. However, the media, including TV stations, still exaggerate rumours as much as possible to boost ratings and attract attention.
Why does the DPP or the Democratic Progressive Party promulgate such narratives?
好，民进党执政呢，一方面他的选票有所考量。
The DPP is concerned with their votes. They primarily stir up anti-mainland sentiment to sever cross-Straits relations and manipulate the resist the mainland, protect the Taiwan narrative during elections. They create an external enemy to boost internal support, which is precisely what the DPP does. They spread rumours and misinformation to prevent people from understanding the so-called enemy. If people truly understood the mainland, they'd see that peace is possible and the DPP strategy of making the mainland as an enemy would fall apart. Therefore, the DPP must fabricate and spread rumours to maintain its political control.
那才有利于自己的政权统治。
Why do you think the DPP authorities in Taiwan have just raised the alert level for travel to the mainland to orange, meaning it's dangerous, trying to discourage the general public from visiting the mainland? And why have they been reluctant in resuming ferry services, for instance, across the Taiwan Strait to facilitate more people-to-people exchanges?
好，因为对民进党的选票是不利的。好，第一个。
Resuming travel hurts the DPP's votes. First, they labelled the mainland as a high-risk area. Compared to other regions dealing with flu or pandemic, the DPP claims the mainland is more dangerous, which is absurd. The main reason is political. The mainland issued a set of judicial guidelines targeting die-hard Taiwan independent separatists, and the DPP retaliated. These actions fit the DPP's narrative, claiming the mainland views everyone in Taiwan as pro-independence, tying them to Lai Ching-te's agenda. Second, it reduces cross-Straits exchanges and increases misunderstandings, benefiting the DPP. They want people in Taiwan to believe the mainland's high-speed trains have no backrests, that it's poor and run down, and that life there is restrictive and uncomfortable. By blocking cross-Straits exchanges, the DPP hopes to boost their votes.
How are these regulations described by DPP authorities on the island?
The
DPP initially responded by saying the guidelines didn't help cross-Straits relations, but they haven't done anything to improve them either. During the pandemic, the DPP blocked mask exports, continued to call COVID-19 the Wuhan virus, and oppressed mainland students, spouses, and children from cross-Straits marriages. These actions do not foster better relations. After the judicial guidelines were announced, the DPP twisted their meaning, falsely claiming the measures labelled most people in Taiwan as pro-independence, which is entirely untrue. The spokesperson for the Taiwan Affairs Office clarified that the measures target only a small number of pro-independence activists. The document specifies this clearly. Ordinary DPP members or employees don't need to worry. No one is coming after them. However, Lai Ching-te and the DPP spread false propaganda, claiming that almost everyone in Taiwan is pro-independence to rally support for Lai. Lai's actions are all bluster with no backbone. If he were truly brave, he would declare himself a pro-independence activist and face any consequences alone. Instead, he falsely claims that everyone in Taiwan, including Ma Ying-jeou, is pro-independence, dragging the entire population into the issue, clearly showing his fear and lack of confidence.
As someone who is a staunch supporter of integration and reunification, you went through unlawful treatment, such as the detention and interrogation that you went through a couple of years ago, although you were convicted not guilty for the crimes that you were accused of. But what kind of pressure did you have to go through, and what does it say about the political atmosphere on the island?
I went through political persecution by the DPP. If the DPP had charged me with opposing them, I would have fully accepted it, because that was what I kept doing. Instead, they accused me of stealing military secrets and being a so-called spy for the mainland. These charges were fabricated and baseless. The goal was to suppress those like me who oppose the DPP, creating a chilling effect. Many others in Taiwan are also victims of the DPP's judicial persecution. They use the power of investigative and prosecutorial agencies to target and suppress individuals, holding them legally accountable for crimes. Simply having to go to court is enough to make many people afraid. This applies to people from the mainland as well. For example, Shang Xin and his wife Kung Qing were falsely accused of being mainland spies. They were barred from leaving Taiwan for 5 years, yet no illegal activity was found. Eventually, they were allowed to return to the mainland. The DPP targets both mainland individuals and people in Taiwan. If they see you as a threat, they can easily arrest, charge, or restrict you without founded accusations.
But the DPP government is perceived by some in the West as a democratically elected government which respects rule of law.
The DPP's international propaganda is very effective, with significant budgets allocated annually to overseas media, think tanks and marketing efforts. In reality, the DPP employs numerous undemocratic methods against opposition parties. The DPP removed a university president in Taiwan simply for having differing political views. This kind of political interference undermines academic freedom. Additionally, the DPP has set up shadow agencies. In 2018, they even openly referred to themselves as the Dongchang, targeting political opponents like Hou Yuyi with fabricated charges. These actions illustrate how the DPP uses political power to interfere in political battles and employs the judicial system to suppress and persecute dissenters.
So, what you said about Dongchang is actually the kind of spy agency that was in China's Ming Dynasty a few hundred years ago, just for those who didn't have any idea about it.
The DPP has diehard supporters who continue to believe in them no matter what. In the DPP's value system, resisting the mainland and protecting Taiwan and supporting Taiwan's independence are top priorities. Meanwhile, fighting the opposition or being corrupt is considered secondary.
But it seems that a lot of young people are not deterred or discouraged by the kind of negative description of the atmosphere on the mainland. A lot of young people still come here, and according to statistics, an increasing number of Taiwan students actually sought further studies on the mainland or come here for development. What does that say about what really is going on the mind of a lot of people on the island about the mainland?
音乐、艺术、文化等等，本来就是超越政治的，甚至民族血缘文化也是超越政治。
Music, art, and culture naturally go beyond politics. Culture and ethnic ties surpass political boundaries, so it's no surprise that young people appreciate them.
没有自信以及狭隘的这个心胸狭小。那实际上，就是大陆的这些演绎的文化。
What's surprising is the DPP's efforts to suppress these cultural influences, showing their lack of confidence and narrow-mindedness. The mainland's entertainment and arts, loved by billions, are bound to be popular with young people here too. It's just natural. In the past, the DPP used textbooks, media and influencers to mobilize the youth. But now, with Douyin and Xiaohongshu rising, the DPP is worried and tries to ban them, but banning won't work.
一切抖音以及大陆的透过软文化的相关影响。
As information spreads, it's impossible to stop young people in Taiwan from accessing the latest movies, music, art, culture, and tech from the mainland.
最新的歌曲、艺术、文化、科技等等的资讯，那是越来越封不住的。
Are young people voting with their feet instead of the kind of poll results that we're seeing in some popular polls, which seem to suggest that a large portion of Taiwan youth are not supporting integration?
人民会选择对自己生活最好的方式。
People always choose what's best for their lives, so more and more are going to the mainland. The DPP tries to cut off these connections, especially through quarantine during the pandemic. The DPP used various methods, like blocking transportation links and limiting the flow of tourists and students from the mainland, using the pandemic as an excuse. This hurts peaceful cross-Straits development. Even with these obstacles, people from Taiwan made 1.8 million trips to the mainland last year, and over 170,000 went there for work. These numbers show that the DPP can only block this connection temporarily. I also believe that the more the DPP tries to isolate Taiwan, the stronger the impact will be when people see the mainland's technological advancements. Just like the current trend of China travel, when Westerners visit the mainland, they naturally see how it's relatively advanced, civilized and developed.
Some videos about you have gone viral here on the mainland when you recite a traditional Chinese literature or cite Chinese classics to talk about the political issues across the Taiwan Straits. Why do you choose to do that? Has it been effective in resonating with young people on the island?
It's tough for young people in Taiwan to appreciate the charm of classical Chinese literature these days, mainly because the current DPP textbooks have significantly reduced content on Chinese history and classical literature. A big reason why we identify as Chinese is due to our cultural and ethnic roots. Growing up, we read Confucius and Mencius, studied Tang poetry and song lyrics, and worshipped Guan Yu and Ma Zu. These practices naturally make us feel connected to Chinese culture. When we read historical texts, like those about Hangzhou, we can connect with the cultural heritage of figures like Su Dongpo and Bai Juyi at Westlake. But young people in Taiwan today don't get to learn about these in their textbooks. They can find some information outside of school, but fewer opportunities exist. If they haven't read Bai Juyi or Su Dongpo, or don't even know who Yue Fei is, then when they visit places like Westlake, they'll see Su Causeway or Yue Fei's temple as just buildings without any historical significance. Without understanding or appreciating history, any scenery they see will seem superficial and lifeless. Therefore, deep cultural and historical education is crucial.